asking you.
Well, I'm not a politician, but
No. I know, of course,
no,
I know.
I'm not. I won't be able to permutate.
I know.
I might not be able to permutate. I might not be able to permutate. I might not be able to. I might not be able to permutate accurately.
Your nose where it is not guaranteed.
But it's not about the party. It's about the people. What the people want.
Yeah, it's about the party. But what does the Constitution say about the processes which will lead to considering the people? There must be a vehicle to attain that public position you are looking for. And PDP is one of such vehicles.
But PDP in Lagos State has been one formidable force to reckon with. Of course, I don't think...
This is one of the most laughable things that...
Yeah, we saw that play out in different elections from Jimmy Agbaje through
my brother,
to...
Let me tell you, there is what we call the Lagos Playbook. The Lagos Playbook is what Tinubu has tried over and over again in Lagos. It worked perfectly, it's working perfectly. And he is now importing that playbook to the national polity.
By playbook, you mean?
What I mean by playbook is have moves in other parties to perpetually put the party down so that the parties will be weakened.
So you're saying Gbadebo is a mold that was planted by the president to in order to frustrate it, because we understand.
Gbadebo.
Yeah.
Rods Vivo Gbadebo. When he was in PDP.
Yeah.
Is a guy I have so much respect for. While he was in PDP, he tries to pull the strings, but when he will not bow to those playbook, he found himself leaving the party. And I'm telling you, Gbadebo was one of the guys that would have corrected a lot of wrongs in Lagos PDP. But did they give him the chance? No. And he left.
But Jimmy Agbaje is still intact.
Let's not go into... These are discussions for someone. But I want to tell you that Lagos PDP, by extension, is an arm of APC in Lagos. And if care is not taken, if not for some of our leaders that are still fighting tooth and nail to ensure that, look, the visions of our founding fathers of the PDP does not die. I am telling you that the people there today, especially the acting chairman, they are ready to turn PDP into a support group of the APC.
Well, that's quite unfortunate from PDP. But then let's even come back to local government, because our interests, our constituency that we represent here is the masses, and what the masses want and what they believe should be the standpoint when it has to do with local government elections, due to the various reforms that we've seen so far in the electoral system, that it does not reflect on the local government. Again, when it has to do with councillorship and ward councillors in local government elections, there's tend to be a variance when it has to do with ward elections in local government. So I'm asking at this point in time, the ward councillors that have been elected, most times, they also defect to other parties. Most of the time, if you bring in a ward councillor, they win through a particular party, they misrepresent their people to a very large extent. Could this also be a factor of why people lose interest in local government elections?
Well, Godwin, I'm yet to see or hear of that states where an opposition, councillorship aspirant actually won an election and then defected to the ruling party in that state. It is nearly impossible. It's almost impossible. But then again, let's even assume that it is true. Nigerian politicians, especially at the grassroots, largely are driven by what? Selfish interests. We have seen it play out time and again across platforms. Only a few persons with integrity that actually knows that, look, this mandate given to me is actually not for me. It's for the people. Let me tell you, if a politician or a councillor that have been elected, duly elected to represent his people in the states, in the local government, council and all that, if he is truly representing the masses, there is nothing, absolutely nothing that will make him shiver or to compromise on his stance. But because there are no consequences for such misbehaviors, no consequences for such cross-carpeting, and you find people doing it here and there. And again, you will find politicians intentionally creating problems within the party so that they can hold on to that to defect another party. These are gimmicks, because at almost at every point in time, especially the crops of politicians we are having now in the APC, they always want to hold on to power. Because you can't bring PDP into this conversation. Largely, almost everywhere in Nigeria are being governed by APC. They are even trying to make Nigeria a one-party state now.
Alleged one-party state.
Allegedly.
Yeah.
Name one opposition party that is not in crisis, and I will name 20 for you that are in crisis. No, name it. Are you talking about PDP?
Okay.
Are you talking about Labour Party? The Labour Party has even been fragmented into 4 different factions. Are you talking about NNPP? Just name it.
Well, we'll come back. Because for one to mention Fresh Party, they said, God, what took you to Fresh Party? Let's leave that apart.
Are you a member? Are you a member?
Let's come back. We are apolitical on this table, basically. But in terms of the local government systems that we have in Nigeria, the system, the more the reforms, the more the dilapidating state of local government elections and systems in Nigeria. So when we try to look at this, you've said that the people are not to be blamed. The blame should go largely to politicians who have failed in their responsibility and always at the edge of grabbing power to themselves and harnessing power and keeping that power to themselves. The people and the politician are on 2 different periscopes right now. The people will ask, where do we go from here as a nation and as a people? Should we begin to revolt, or we should begin to drag the politicians to court, which the court is the last hope for the ordinary man? Or what should the people begin to do as we begin to prepare for various local government elections that is coming up across the country now and till 2026?
Thank you. I think I would like to take this question from the position of the reforms you talked about. The truth is that as far as Nigeria is concerned, whichever sector you go to, whichever ministry, whichever area you have come here, just name them. We have very good policies, come reforms on paper. Implementation have always been the problem. It has. Because it brings us back to what I was saying, the politicians, our so-called leaders. How many of them have this political will to implement some of these reforms and policies? Because at the end of the day, the leaders are looking at the fact that, look, these policies might come back to haunt us. They are looking at it, that look, if we implement these policies, we might be at the receiving end of these policies. As such, they will carry the policy and put it somewhere and cover it and not allow it to see the light of the day. And then the next question, you talked about how do we Nigerians and of course citizens begin to see how we can checkmate some of these things. It's a simple thing. As difficult as it may sound, but yet it's a simple thing. Nigerians must be ready to confront the processes headlong. And what do I mean by that? Nigerians must be ready to make very painful sacrifices. Nigerians must be ready to be involved in the process, whether we like it or not. Because until that happens, we might never be able to checkmate these guys. And some of the painful sacrifices I'm talking about is shunning all this Indomie, pepper, salt, and Maggi they bring on election day for you to vote for somebody you clearly knows does not have the good of the community at heart. And then because you are taking small pepper, 1 Indomie, 200 naira, you will vote for that person. 2 days later, we are back to the street and we've started complaining. So those are the painful sacrifices I'm talking about. Nobody should bring 5,000 naira to the polling unit. Nobody should bring 1 Indomie, tomato, pepper, and then you think, okay, it is enough for a 3-year mandate or it is enough for a 4-year mandate, as the case may be. So these are the conscious efforts Nigerians must take, and the painful sacrifice we must take. Yes, it's a difficult thing. That's why I said it's a painful sacrifice. So these are some of the things and some of the ways I think Nigerians can actually checkmate these unholy processes.
But before I let you go, we've seen the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission run after governors that just finished leaving office. 774 local governments in Nigeria. We don't hear the same thing. And we see local government chairmen leave offices. I'm curious, are all the local governments in Nigeria, 774, are they all saints? They don't embezzle public funds? That's on one hand. Secondly, we've not seen the people within Nigeria challenge the status quo of outgoing local government chairmen and bring them back to give account of what has happened, even while they were in office. It's as if local government chairmen are not accountable to anybody. And that has become like the norm in Nigerian body politics. I'm curious. You are within this space and you understand the terrain better than I do. Are all local government chairmen, are they all sent and they don't commit crime?
Yeah, first of all, it is not correct that all the 774 local government chairmen are sent. Of course, that's not true. That cannot even be true. And again, it is also not correct that the local government chairmen are not accountable to anyone. But now, here is the thing. This is where local government autonomy comes to play. Mind you, before the Supreme Court Langbar judgment, sometimes in 2024, I think June, July, or thereabouts in 2024, you would find out that local government monies are channeled through state governments. And then state governments now decide what to do or what portion of it should actually go to that local government chairman. I do not think that in such situation that EFCC have any power to go after any local government council chairman. And that is why most times the EFCC is always going after state governors.
Even though
because
the residual list allows local governments to also have their own form of revenue generation process.
How many of these local governments are even generating any revenue? Even if they do, they channel it through the governors. So understand these things, and then you will know why it is always difficult for EFCC to go after local government chairmen. But that is where local government autonomy comes in. Because if they allow this local government autonomy to pass and then the governors implement it, I am telling you that you will begin to see drastic changes in the grassroots level. You will begin to see local government chairmen committed to working for their people. Because they also know that now EFCC has been empowered to track that fund. But a situation where the fund is not coming directly to the local government, that he is not signatory to.
But it gets to an account that he controls.
What makes you think it gets to an account? What if they are paid in table manners?
We've seen local government.
What if they are paid in table manners? So the chairman, so if there is anybody that those local government chairmen ought to be accounted to, it should be the governors. That is, I am talking about before the local government. And again, we are aware that not all the states, in fact, the local government autonomy, as far as I'm concerned, are just mere lip service. It's out there. You can ask questions. You can check Google. You can call one or two persons from everything. They will tell you. It's all lip service. So until we implement this local government autonomy, then the financial institutions, the institutions that are readily made available to curb financial malfeasance will be able to trace these funds to where they are going to. So this is just a simple thing. It's not like the local government chairmen have become saints or they have become too powerful that they cannot be accountable to anybody. No, these are just the techniques involved. So
invariably, you're saying right now that the local government chairmen are holier than the Pope. Because they cannot trace funds. Oh. Economic and Financial Crime Commission cannot trace funds to any account that they are signatories to. So they are holier than the saints because they cannot be traced. Well, you said that. I'm just asking. I'm trying to put the words in perspective so that we'll be on the same page. So that we'll be on the same page.
If there is this thing in our local palace on the streets, now who them catch, now be thief.
Okay.
It's simple.
Let's even, as we begin to draw our curtain on these matters. So, local government, as it stands right now in Nigeria, if we want to project the change and some form of recommendation, what would that be?
The number one thing I would recommend is for the government to create a single agency that oversees the election from the central. I'd wanted to say INEC should take over that responsibility, but then again, some people might argue that that will be too much of a burden on INEC. But then, I think I am trying to say the same thing. If we can have a central body that oversees the local government elections, I think that is the first step to curbing all these irregularities.
Well, David Itopa, I think that's a good way to also say thank you so much for being a part of the Big Talk.
Thank you for having me.
What is how far we can go tonight on Big Talk? Do remember that you can join the conversation on our various social media handle currently showing on your screen. And you can download the Global TV Nigerian mobile app for Android and iOS devices to keep track of our broadcasts. So Big Talk returns your way again same time tomorrow. Do remember that peace and unity are the pathways to progress. I am Godwin Sunday. Enjoy the rest of your night.
Do you know that global television can be watched in Nigeria and all over the world?
Download the Global TV Nigerian mobile app for Android and iOS devices to watch global television real-time from around the world. What are you waiting for?
Start downloading and stay connected to global television.
Stay informed, stay healthy, stay empowered. Join Queen Agaba every Thursday, 11:30 a.m. on Health Guide, as she takes you through topical discussions from nutrition, mental health, to fitness, to family planning and battling chronic illnesses with top professionals